Today we will discuss about how the immune cells migrate to the cancers or to the tumor areas. Though we have discussed these things many times in many of our previous videos. However, here we will condense all those informations so that those who are interested only in this topic will be able to understand it with just one video. So what happens when the tumors and cancer cells are formed? They will release some of the chemokines, cytokines, and those chemokines, cytokines, when interact with the immune cells, then there is a intercellular signaling changes occurs, and those intercellular signaling changes will change the filaments, actin filaments, in a way that it will helps the immune cells to migrate to the site of the cancers. And one more things that will happens when the chemokine interact with the receptors, along with the change in the shape of these actin filaments, the integrins will also starts. Integrins change in the intercellular will leads to the increase in the amount of integrins that are expressed on the immune cells, such that integrins will be able to interact with the extracellular matrix, and that will also provide uh, contribute towards this cancer immune cells migrations towards the tumor cells. In this figure, it is there is a migration showing towards the left hand side. This is one way of migrating with the help of chemokines. The other way of migrations of the immune cells to the site of infections is through the lymph node. In the lymph node, when the T cells are going through, then these T cells interact or prime with the tumor antigens or virus antigens with the help of dendritic cells that can be seen here. And this how the dendritic cells activated T cells is been covered in our previous in our one of our old videos. You can refer to those videos to understand these interactions. So once these T cells get activated through these dendritic cells, then it will move to the site of the infections through the blood by carryover or by passage through the blood. And these activated T cells can release cytokines such as granzyme that will help in the triggering of the apoptosis to the virus infected cells and also to the tumor cells. And these activated T cells are also called as CD8 plus T cells, as these T cells have the CD8 plus receptors on them. So this is how this recruitment occurs, and this process of moving from T cells from lymph node to the blood vessels is the extravasations, and from blood vessels to the tumor's infection site or peripheral tissue is here called as infiltration, or it is also known as intravasitions. So, however, this is the ideal case, and this is not always the case that has happened. So, in many times the immune cells will not be able to uh, affect the cancer cells. Instead, the cancer cells develop the ability to evade this immune response. So, how this happens is that is shown in this bottom figure. So, T cells will release some cytokines, and they will not be able to functions in some specific kind of conditions, and that is shown in this figure. So this is the example of T cells, and it can attack on the tumor cells that is close to it, and there is a specific lysis that can be seen here. However, in other case, the T cells that are been suppressed by the tumor microenvironment uh, will uh, will be devoid of the necessary will be devoid of unnecessary environmental conditions that is necessary to trigger lysis of the tumor cells. And simultaneously, there is also a condition that is occurred within the tumor microenvironment, that is hypoxia conditions, which will prevent the immune cells to work efficiently. And this angiogenesis will also occur. So angiogenesis will help the tumor cells to supply their energy requirement that is necessary for uncontrolled growth rate, migrations, and invasions. So these are some of the conditions, and why how this suppression of the effector cells occurs is through the unfavorable environmental conditions and to the deactivation of the tumor cells through because of the conditions that are present in the tumor microenvironment, such as changed pH or reduced pH. At the same time, it will release or the tumor cells will have these immune checkpoint inhibitors that can deactivate the T cells, and simultaneously the some of the cytokines will also helps in the differentiation of the immune cells such as monocytes to the M2 type macrophage that has tumor suppressor properties. So this is some of the examples how the immune cells will not be able to function properly even though it reaches to the site of these tumor infections. So I hope you got this brief overview about the immune cells migration to the cancer cells and what are the shortcomings that immune cells face when they reach at the tumor infected site. If you need to understand more about this topic in detail, you can go through the reference that has been provided in the description. That's all for this video. Thank you for your time.